Hi everyone! Today we are going to use skip counting by fives to help us with addition questions. Before we start, let's review what skip counting by fives means. When you skip count by fives, it means every number you say is 5 bigger than the last number. So if we start at 5 and then we get 5 bigger, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the next number we say will be 10. Then if we get 5 bigger beyond that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the next number we say is 15. Continue the pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hopefully this is familiar to you. Usually when we skip count by fives, we start at 5 and we continue 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, and we continue on down. In our pattern, we say numbers that end in 5 and numbers that end in 0. Knowing this pattern can help you with addition. I'm going to continue circling all of the numbers in the pattern just so we have a reference. Now let's just practice once before we get going. Count with me by fives. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, 85, 90, 95, 100. Now that we've reviewed that, let's look at how counting by fives can help us with addition. Here's an example. The first question is 45 plus 5 equals. Well, when we look at these two numbers, we notice that it's a plus 5 question, but the really great thing is that 45 is one of the numbers we say when we're doing our skip counting pattern. So if we can find it on the 100 chart, all we have to do is figure out what comes next in that skip counting sequence. Let's have a look. Where is 45? Here it is. I'm going to make it nice and dark. Here's 45, so if I get 5 bigger, I just have to think, what would I say next if I were skip counting by fives? 50. That's the next number I would say. It's 5 bigger than 45. 45, 50. So our answer is 50. Now, of course, you could use your fingers and put 45 in your brain and then count 5 bigger, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, but you don't really need to do this because you know that 45 is a number you say when you skip count by fives. And all you have to do is think, oh, what comes next in my counting by fives pattern? 50. Let's try another one. Notice that yes, we are counting by fives, but even more excitingly, number 70 is a number we say when we count by fives. So if we think to ourselves, what would come after 70 in my counting by fives pattern? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75. Oh, 75 would come next. Of course, you're more than welcome to use your 100 chart to help you remember that. Here's 70. And if we continue on with our pattern, the next number that we would say after 70 is 75. That means it's 5 bigger than the last number. So the answer is 75. Now, of course, if you see a question that's plus 5, such as this one, yes, it's a plus 5 question, but we probably would not be able to use skip counting by fives to answer this because 13 is not a number we say in our skip counting pattern. Here's another example. If you saw a question such as this one. Yes, it's true that 5 is counting by fives, but 51 is not a number we say when we're in our pattern. So this would not be a useful strategy in this situation. The trick to skip counting by 5 questions is to make sure that one of the numbers is something you would say in your pattern and the other number is +5. Of course, it doesn't matter the order they're in. I'd like to show you another example. Whenever you do addition, it does not matter what order the addends are in. At the end of the day, you're putting the numbers together, so it doesn't matter what side they're on of the plus symbol. This is a skip counting by 5s question. We're getting 5 bigger, and the other number is one that you would say in your skip counting pattern. If it helps you, you can write it like this. This is the exact same question. It does not matter what order the addends are in. Now you can think to yourself, this is great. I'll say the bigger number, which is in my pattern, and then I'll figure out what comes next if I'm counting by 5s. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. 25 would come next. And we can confirm this by looking at our 100 chart. If we're at 20, here it is right there, and then we get 5 bigger, the next number we would say in our pattern is 25. That means we had the right answer. So once again, don't be afraid to change the position of the addends. If you see a question such as this one, 5 plus 20, you can flip the numbers. So it becomes 20 plus 5. Then you just have to think, what would come next in my counting by 5s pattern? Let's try one more. We'll see if you can flip the addends to make it easier. This is a skip counting by 5 question. One of the numbers is something we would say in our pattern, and the other shows us that we're getting 5 bigger. Of course, if you don't like this question, you can write it in a different way. Whenever you're adding numbers, it doesn't matter which position the addends are in. At the end of the day, you're putting those numbers together anyways. I've rewritten the question like this. 85 plus 5 equals. I know it's a skip counting by 5 question because this number is in my pattern and it shows I'm getting 5 bigger. Now I have to think, what would I say next if I were counting by 5s and I was already at 85? 85, 90. 90 would be the next number. Let's just double check it. It's always good to verify what you think in math. Here's 85. And the next number I would say after that in my skip counting by 5s pattern is in fact 90. Sometimes the number 5 can be hiding in other numbers. I'm going to show you a new trick. This time we're going to look at questions that are plus 15. It will help us combine our understanding of counting by 10s and counting by 5s together. Let's look at this question. 20 plus 15 equals, Well, remember before how we talked about disguising numbers? We're going to be trying that again. You see, the number 15 is really the same thing as 10 and 5. I'm going to build it with base 10 blocks so you can see. So if I make the number 15, it looks like this. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So if I break it into its parts, here's the 10 and here's the 5. In other words, 10 and 5 is just another way of writing 15. I've just disguised it differently. And the reason I've done this is because now I can use skip counting to help me find the answer to my question. I know I'm starting at 20, but instead of just getting 15 bigger right away, I can take a less direct route. That is, I can go 20 and then get 10 bigger. Great, I already know how to skip count by 10s. And then I can get 5 bigger after that, skip counting by 5s. So let's take a look. We're at 20, and then we skip count by 10s. I'm going to look on my 100 chart. Let's see, I'll erase it up. I'm at 20 and I want to get 10 bigger. Find 20. We know when we skip count by tens, we go straight down. Okay, so I did the first part. I went 20 and 10 bigger. Now I know I'm at the number 30, but my job is not finished yet. I still have to get 5 bigger. So I'm at the number 30. I don't want to get 10 bigger. I want to get 5 bigger. So now I have to think, if I were skip counting by fives, what would be the next number that I would say after 30? It would be 35. That would be the next number in the skip counting by fives pattern. So when we take a look at this question, we said 20, 10 more gets us to 30, 5 more gets us to 35. You see, we took a less direct pathway. We went this way. And we skipped over the 15 instead because we know how to count by tens and count by fives. So we used that to get the answer, 35. Let's try one more, another plus 15 question. Let's take a look at 45 plus 15. I think I'll be able to use counting by tens and counting by fives to answer this question, especially since I'm starting at a number that I know is something I would say in my counting by fives pattern. So let's break this 15 down. We'll disguise it and write it in a different way. 15 is really just the same thing as 10 and 5 more. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And if I put them together, it makes my 15. The reason I've separated them into these two parts is because now I can count by tens and then switch to counting by fives. I know this strategy will work because 45 is a number I say when I'm counting by fives, so it will work. We're starting at 45 and then we're going to get 10 bigger. That's our first step. Here's our 100 chart. 45. We want to get 10 bigger, so we go straight down. Now we're at 55, but we're not finished yet. We're at 55. We still have to get 5 bigger. So if I'm counting by fives now, what would I say next after 55 in that pattern? 55, 60. That means my answer is 60. This is the pathway I took. 45, and then I got 10 bigger. That got me to 55. Now I'm going to count by fives. 55, 60. And that gave me my answer. We're using two different skip counting strategies to help us find the answer, counting by tens and counting by fives. Hopefully that's helpful for you. We'll see you next time.